The moment the screen went black in Landman season 2 episode 6, fans were left with their mouths open. Nothing in the episode prepares you for that shocking twist. And it changes everything you thought you knew about the story. Every little detail, every line of dialogue, and every choice the characters made suddenly takes on a new meaning. It's the kind of ending that makes you stop, rewind, and think about what just happened, questioning every assumption you had along the way. This episode didn't just wrap up a story, it opened the door to even bigger questions, deeper mysteries, and unexpected betrayals. If you thought you understood Landman's world, episode 6 proves that nothing is as simple as it seems. Episode 6 begins by picking up directly after the tension-filled events of the previous episode, with the main characters trying to recover from the shocks and losses they suffered. The story immediately plunges us into a world where trust is fragile and danger lurks around every corner. One of the key threads in this episode is how the relationships between the characters are tested. Under pressure, alliances that once seemed solid start to show cracks, and small disagreements quickly escalate into major conflicts. The writers cleverly set up the ending from the very start, dropping subtle hints about who might betray whom and which secrets might finally come to light. The episode opens with a scene that at first seems routine, but every line of dialogue carries weight. Characters are seen making choices that on the surface appear minor but, in hindsight, are critical to understanding the climax. For example, when character A hesitates to share vital information, it's not just a moment of indecision, it's a reflection of deeper fears and hidden agendas that will explode in the final minutes. Meanwhile, character B is shown observing others quietly, giving viewers a sense that they are plotting something significant. These small narrative choices are what make the ending so impactful. The audience might not fully grasp the importance during the first viewing, but upon reflection, these moments create a chain reaction leading directly to the shocking conclusion. As the episode progresses, tension steadily builds. The pacing is deliberate, allowing viewers to absorb the layers of mystery and the emotional stakes at play. The writers use a mix of dialogue, silent reactions, and strategic pauses to convey the inner turmoil of the characters. For instance, a seemingly casual conversation between two supporting characters suddenly hints at long-buried secrets, and this subtly plants seeds of doubt in the audience's mind. This technique is brilliant because it makes the ending feel both surprising and inevitable at the same time. Viewers are constantly asking themselves, who can I trust? Who is hiding something? What will happen next? These questions linger and create a perfect setup for the finale. Another important aspect of episode 6 is how the writers expand on the main themes of the season. Trust, betrayal, ambition, and revenge are explored not only through dialogue but also through character actions. For example, a character who previously seemed heroic starts showing signs of moral ambiguity, and a supposedly minor antagonist takes steps that reveal a cunning intelligence. These shifts in character perception are essential to understanding why the ending hits so hard. The audience is forced to reconsider their assumptions about who is good, who is bad, and who has been manipulating events from the shadows. By the time the final scenes arrive, viewers are emotionally invested and intellectually engaged, making the payoff more satisfying. The episode also uses visual and situational storytelling to amplify suspense. While this is a faceless video recap, it's important to note how certain recurring symbols and motifs appear. For example, a specific object or a repeated line of dialogue that seemed trivial earlier in the season suddenly gains huge significance. These clues are sprinkled throughout episode 6 in a way that rewards careful observation. Viewers who pay attention to these details will notice how every piece of the puzzle falls into place, which adds layers of depth to the ending. The combination of careful setup, character development, and thematic resonance ensures that when the climax arrives, it doesn't feel random or unearned. It feels like the natural conclusion to all the tension built up over the course of the episode. In short, episode 6 is all about setting the stage. Every scene, Every line and every glance matters because they all lead to the final shocking moments. The writers expertly balance suspense, mystery, and emotional depth, making it impossible to look away. By the time the episode reaches its ending, the audience is fully primed to experience the shock, the betrayal, and the revelations that make this episode one of the most talked about in the entire series. Understanding these setups is crucial to fully grasping why the ending has such a huge impact. The ending of episode 6 is a masterclass in tension and storytelling, carefully crafted to leave viewers both stunned and thinking long after the screen goes dark. Unlike typical climaxes, it doesn't rely on loud action or obvious confrontations. Instead, it builds suspense through subtle character movements, carefully timed revelations, and choices that carry enormous emotional weight. From the very first moment of the finale sequence, it's clear that everything the characters have done up to this point is about to collide, and the consequences are about to become irreversible. Every glance, every hesitation, and every word spoken feels loaded with meaning, creating a sense of inevitability that makes the shock of the final twist even more powerful. The episode begins the ending sequence by bringing together key characters who have been on separate paths throughout the season. Their meeting seems coincidental at first, but it's quickly revealed that it's the result of carefully orchestrated actions behind the scenes. Character A, who has been quietly observing and planning, finally takes decisive action, and the audience can feel the tension mounting with every passing second. The writers do something clever here. They show us the outcome of certain choices before revealing the reasoning behind them. This creates a mix of suspense and curiosity, keeping viewers glued to the screen while also prompting them to try and predict what will happen next. As the events unfold, betrayal becomes the central theme of the ending. One character, who has been portrayed as loyal and trustworthy for most of the season, makes a shocking choice that changes the dynamics completely. This betrayal isn't sudden or out of character. It's the result of subtle foreshadowing scattered throughout the episode and even the season. Small interactions, almost unnoticed at first, suddenly make perfect sense in hindsight. The impact of this betrayal is heightened by the reactions of the other characters, each displaying a mix of shock, anger, and confusion. The emotional realism here is remarkable because it mirrors how people would react in a real-life situation where trust is broken unexpectedly. It's a betrayal that feels earned, which is why it hits so hard. One of the most unique aspects of the ending is how it balances multiple storylines simultaneously. While one character faces the fallout of their choices, another is quietly uncovering critical information that reframes the entire narrative. This parallel storytelling keeps the audience engaged on multiple levels. They are emotionally invested in the characters while also trying to piece together the broader implications of the plot. A key scene that stands out is when character B silently observes a confrontation from a distance, realizing the true intentions of others. The tension is almost unbearable because viewers know that the revelation in this moment will have far-reaching consequences. This technique of layered storytelling ensures that every viewer is processing the climax in their own way, making the episode feel personal and interactive. The writers also use symbolic elements to add depth to the ending. Certain objects, repeated phrases, or subtle visual cues gain significance in these final moments, serving as markers of themes like deception, revenge, or hidden motives. For instance, a previously overlooked item suddenly becomes central to understanding a character's decision. It's a clever way of rewarding attentive viewers while making the ending feel cohesive and purposeful. These symbols also contribute to the haunting, lingering effect of the finale. Even after the last scene, viewers are left thinking about what they saw and how it connects to the season's larger narrative. Another striking feature is how the ending manipulates audience expectations. The episode sets up several potential outcomes, making it feel like any number of scenarios could play out. However, the actual resolution is both surprising and inevitable, a combination that is rare in storytelling. viewers are forced to reconcile what they thought they knew with what actually happens, which creates a satisfying, almost dizzying emotional experience. This is enhanced by the pacing. The final moments unfold in a way that feels measured rather than rushed, allowing the gravity of each revelation to sink in fully. By the time the final frame appears, the story has delivered multiple shocks, but it also leaves enough unanswered questions to set up speculation and discussion. The ending doesn't try to tie up every loose end neatly. Instead, it prioritizes emotional impact, character development, and thematic resonance. The choices, betrayals, and revelations all converge to create a finale that feels significant and memorable. It's an ending that not only resolves some storylines but also reshapes how viewers perceive the characters. The ending of episode 6 is packed with layers that go beyond the surface-level drama, revealing a richness in meaning that rewards careful attention. One of the most fascinating aspects is how the writers use symbolism to communicate emotions, themes, and hidden truths without explicitly stating them. For instance, objects that appear ordinary in earlier scenes suddenly take on greater significance. A simple piece of jewelry, a broken mirror, or even a shadow cast in a hallway can reflect a character's internal state or hint at an impending revelation. These subtle cues are not just decorative, they function as a visual language that conveys tension, deception, and the fragility of relationships. Recognizing these symbols allows viewers to appreciate the ending on a deeper, almost subconscious level, showing that the story operates on multiple planes simultaneously. Character actions in the final scenes are also heavy with symbolic meaning. The choices they make, even in small gestures, communicate far more than words ever could. A hesitant hand, a glance that lingers too long, or a step taken toward or away from another character becomes a coded signal of trust, fear, or betrayal. These moments highlight the idea that the world of Landman is not just about plot but about human emotion and moral ambiguity. By paying attention to these details, viewers can see that the ending is less about a single shocking event and more about the culmination of layered human behavior, the consequences of past decisions, and the subtle interplay of motivations. Every character, no matter how minor, contributes to this symbolic tapestry, making the finale a rich field for interpretation. Another layer of meaning emerges when we consider recurring motifs throughout the episode and the season. Certain phrases, objects, or actions repeat at critical moments, creating a sense of inevitability and cohesion. For example, a line of dialogue that seemed casual earlier suddenly gains a heavier weight in the ending, revealing foreshadowing the audience may have missed. These motifs serve as narrative threads that tie the season together, suggesting that nothing in the story is accidental. The writers are meticulous in planting these clues, rewarding viewers who engage actively with the story. Recognizing these patterns transforms the ending from a simple surprise into a carefully orchestrated reveal that demonstrates skillful storytelling. Themes of duality and hidden intentions dominate the symbolic structure of the finale. Many characters are presented in ways that challenge the viewer's perception of right and wrong. Actions that initially seem noble are revealed to have self-serving motives, while choices that appear morally ambiguous often carry deeper layers of sacrifice or courage. The ending emphasizes that appearances are deceptive and that every decision carries consequences, some seen immediately and others unfolding slowly. This thematic richness is amplified through visual symbolism, light and shadow, reflective surfaces, and spatial positioning all subtly reinforce the idea that what is visible is never the whole truth. Viewers are encouraged to question the narrative and explore the unseen forces driving events, which adds a philosophical dimension to the climax. The ending also cleverly uses contrasts to enhance its impact. Moments of calm and stillness are juxtaposed with sudden bursts of revelation or action. Silence becomes a tool for tension, forcing the audience to anticipate what will happen next and amplifying the emotional weight of each character's choice. Even the pacing reflects a symbolic rhythm. Slower moments allow reflection and highlight emotional stakes, while quicker sequences convey urgency and impending change. This deliberate manipulation of tempo mirrors the characters' inner conflicts and mirrors the thematic tension between control and chaos that runs throughout the episode. Finally, the ending encourages viewers to consider the broader narrative of the series and the journey of each character. Symbolism in episode 6 is not isolated. It resonates with arcs from previous episodes, creating echoes that reinforce the emotional and narrative significance of the finale. By decoding these hidden layers, fans gain a more complete understanding of the story's moral and thematic architecture. The conclusion is as much about interpretation and insight as it is about plot resolution, giving the audience a sense that the world of Landman is intricate, interconnected, and designed to reward careful observation. In essence, the finale is both an ending and an invitation, an ending to one chapter, but an open doorway for analysis, discussion, and anticipation of what lies ahead in the story. The ending of episode 6 left so many threads unresolved that fans immediately began theorizing about what might happen next, and these theories are as diverse as they are intriguing. One popular speculation revolves around the true motives of character A. While the ending paints their actions as shocking or even treacherous, some viewers believe there is a deeper, hidden agenda behind every move, clues scattered throughout the season, such as subtle glances, seemingly innocuous decisions, or moments of hesitation, hint that character A may not be acting purely out of self-interest. Instead, they could be laying the groundwork for a larger plan, one that might change the power dynamics entirely in the upcoming episodes. Fans who pay close attention to the foreshadowing are convinced that what appeared as betrayal may ultimately serve a greater purpose, possibly revealing a more complex moral code than the story initially suggests. Another theory that has gained traction concerns the role of secondary characters who have largely operated in the background. Many viewers have speculated that one of these characters is secretly pulling strings behind the major events of episode 6. Clues in previous episodes, brief exchanges, offhand remarks, and unexplained actions now seem suspiciously deliberate when revisited. This theory suggests that the ending of episode 6 was only a partial reveal and that the true mastermind has yet to make their presence fully known. If this is correct, the next episode could dramatically shift the focus, showing that the apparent conflicts between the main characters are being influenced or manipulated by someone entirely unexpected. Fans are eagerly dissecting every frame to find evidence supporting this idea, from the placement of objects to the timing of key interactions, which illustrates the depth of engagement the show encourages. Several theories also center around unresolved emotional arcs and personal conflicts between characters. For example, the fallout from the betrayal at the end of episode 6 opens possibilities for revenge, redemption, or reconciliation, depending on how the characters process the events. Some fans predict that relationships will fracture further, leading to new alliances or unexpected teamwork. Others believe that certain characters may confront their own internal weaknesses or face consequences for past actions, which could dramatically alter the trajectory of the season. These speculations are compelling because they acknowledge that the story's tension is not just external between opposing characters, but also internal, within each character's psyche. The interplay between personal growth, moral choice, and external conflict creates rich possibilities for the next chapter of the series. A particularly intriguing area of speculation involves the hidden symbols and recurring motifs introduced throughout episode 6. Fans are analyzing these elements to predict not just who might act next, but also the broader themes the show is exploring. For instance, repeated references to certain objects, phrases, or settings have led to theories about fate, cycles of betrayal, and the inevitable consequences of past choices. Some viewers even argue that the show is building toward a revelation that will recontextualize the entire season, suggesting that episode 6's ending is only the tip of the iceberg. These theories indicate that fans are engaging with the series on a thematic and symbolic level, rather than focusing solely on plot mechanics, which demonstrates the depth and complexity the writers have infused into the narrative. Other speculations focus on potential twists in power dynamics. The final moments of episode 6 hint that the balance of control among the characters is shifting, but not in an obvious way. Fans are predicting that someone who seemed minor or inconsequential may rise to prominence, altering the expected course of events. This aligns with one of the show's recurring patterns. The characters viewers underestimate often end up having the greatest impact. This type of speculation is exciting because it keeps the audience guessing, ensuring that every subsequent episode will be scrutinized for clues about who will rise, who will fall, and how the unfolding events will reshape the story world. Finally, the open-ended nature of episode 6's conclusion has sparked discussions about long-term consequences and future conflict. Some fans predict that the next episode will not immediately resolve the cliffhangers but instead escalate the tension, leading to a chain of events that challenges assumptions about loyalty, morality, and strategy. Others suggest that the ending may foreshadow a larger narrative arc that spans the entire season, where seemingly isolated events are part of a broader, intricate plan. These discussions reflect how invested viewers are in the story and how the show's complex plotting encourages active engagement and deep theorizing. The excitement surrounding episode 6's ending lies not only in what happened but also in the endless possibilities for what comes next, making every frame a potential clue for the unfolding drama.